Hyrox. Nobody cares how many minutes you can do a mile in. Nobody cares how many star jumps you can do. You're doing adult PE, mate. Like, you don't walk into a room and somebody flexes their Hyrox stats. You walk into a room with a build and people know. They don't need to tell anyone what you can do. I walk into a room and people can see.
Screw you, Ben Featherstone. Welcome back to the weekly news show. I am Coach Tom Hall, your resident Masters in Biomechanics and Sport Performance S&C coach, and I help coaches train their clients even better than before, particularly away from training for aesthetics and mainly for sports, events, running, anything like that, basically. Yeah, the general pop, the people we actually train, you don't need to know that, but we are here because I like to pick out certain things that have been happening in the world of health, fitness, bodybuilding, I don't know. And we have a little bit of a, you're good if you're watching, we have a little bit of a deep dive. We looked through our lens as an S&C coach, a sports scientist, a biomechanist, a personal trainer, whatever hat I've decided to put on today. And we've got 3 videos really, but one's just to prove a point, if I'm honest. So we're going to cover 2 topics, basically. One, unbelievable, and the other one, still unbelievable? Yeah. So let's get into this. Let's bring up the first item, which is this 1K row world record. This is very cool, right? I'm going to play the whole thing, and we're going to talk over it, we're going to talk through it, we're going to do this as we go along, okay? So we'll explain some stuff that's happening. Should we ramp up whilst they're starting? I didn't think I was going to be like, I love that they didn't branch out on getting a little iPhone holder. I was like, I feel like I need to send them a tripod or anything like that. All right, so a 1K row world record, which is really cool because it's very gym based, and we can kind of talk about the rower, for example, what it takes to be able to do this. And this is a ridiculous. I think it was set last week, I believe. So this lad, Lou Rich, and he's got a whole crew around him, and we'll be settling into this. Okay, so he does it in 2 minutes, but he's holding that 120 the whole way during this world record. Absolutely insane. I think the previous one was 238.1. I think a lad who basically has the 500, the K, the 2K, all these world records, and they're able to kind of look at this. But people are probably looking at like, how do you train for this kind of feat whilst he's going through this? And it's the Concept 2 rower, right? So I've been to a couple of robot classes. There's going to be a video coming out of that very soon. Little hook for you. And they use a water rower that you don't really see, but you might see Concept 2s because they're the biggest one that everybody uses in the gyms. They're the kind of ones that you'll see all the time. He's well over halfway now. And they're basically like airflow gearing system. You've got a flywheel, and it's basically the amount of air that you're kind of pushing the flywheel around is what is happening with the rower, right? So that's what we're doing. You can see, to be good at rowing, genetically, you need to most likely be pretty big. I think this guy is, I'm gonna go at 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", like 190 something, maybe 189. He weighs about, I think it was like 105 to 115 kilos. He's a big boy, and mass moves this, okay? But their anaerobic threshold is absolutely incredible for this kind of distance, okay? So remember, he's only working for like 3 minutes. It's about this crossover where he's, obviously the aerobic system is working, so his body is starting to try and fuel itself. We're gonna pause here for when they celebrate, and we'll reset it back. Look at this, boom, crank that up. I love the little jiggle he does, look at that. And those are the splits. And that is the little group. Let's look at those splits for you. Okay, so yeah, 238.1, absolutely incredible. And the 250 splits, 38 came home in 39. So a little bit of like a leeway in the middle, but kind of a negative at that last 250. Pretty amazing. All right, so anaerobically, he's working hard. So ATP system is shot. Okay, that's the thing that like explodes you for the first like 3 to 10 seconds. Cool. Anaerobically starting to work. You're thinking like 400-meter runs, you're out on your legs, you've got nothing else, glycogen stores are getting like absolutely boomed, there's no energy that's going in whatsoever, absolutely mental. And then Here he's working for 2 minutes 38, so we're switching over aerobically, but it's not really quick enough time, right? For your oxygen to send stuff, to replenish, to keep on going in and out. So he's like working on stores that are just like depleted as hell. So the grit and determination within something like that is absolutely incredible. If you want to go away and try and replicate that, you're doing what's called VO2 work. You're doing kind of lactate threshold work. It might be something like some of my guys got in at the moment, like 20-second hard, let's go gas, and then you're resting for 2 minutes, you're doing nothing, and then you're building up that speed to try and get that level, push that ceiling even higher. His ceiling's humongous. He can dip below that 120, like those we saw at the start, right? For a little sprint. It'd be really cool to see what he holds. So he's holding 120 here. I ain't got no chance to do that. For 500, I'd give it a go. 250, I can definitely do. But yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Right, incredible. One little thing on the rower before we go away or move on to the next item. Oh yeah, I guess the S&C wise, strength wise, he's doing loads of deadlifts, okay? So one of the biggest things on that rower, yeah, you got to think of that row. There's lots of technical aspects of like how far you push out with your legs before you catch, and you catch the flywheel and go through there. So lots of deadlifts, lots of back stuff. It's all back stuff. Let's be honest. It's hugely posterior chain and a big amount of leg drive. So you've got like not much ankle dorsiflexion is needed, which is cool. So the squatting's not that applicable. You're still going to push through your quads, but then it's basically like hinging. If you've got to think, you're just going to hinge back and make sure your glutes come off. So that's pretty cool as you go through that. Right, so you've got to think deadlifts, that kind of thing, lots of pull-ups, lots of rows, lots of pulls, lots of all that kind of stuff. Cleans are a big one. Anything like that would be, or jump shrugs and all that kind of force production that they're doing. Also with their aerobic anaerobic lactate work, right? The rower, just a quick side note, the little thing, let's go back here, right? And let's have a little look. We can't quite see on his dampener setting, which is here. Can we get that? His dampener is like right in the middle, okay? It is not at number 10, which I'm sure a lot of you will go, whack it straight up. I'm gonna get this as hard as possible. That's what I've got to do. That's just the resistance I'm putting on. Untrue, okay? It's against feel versus kind of resistance. So the adjustments of like, if you're sitting in like a 1 to 5 and like a very fast boat, and like a heavy boat would be like 6 to 10. So it feels like you're going against like a headwind or something like that, okay? So it's not actually, it's more of like a gearing system. So there's gonna be like this happy middle ground, which this lad's found, of where he can pull and the emotion. So he's pulling his cable pretty hard every single time, okay? So it regulates the airflow going through, where like heavy pull, so is basically creating a heavier feel, whereas the number 1 is creating a lighter feel, so you can get a faster stroke. But it's not dictated by a really hard pull. Basically at number 1 is still going to be heavier than a very light pull at 10, all right? It's not exactly how it's done. Cool, so there's actually something called drag factor as well on the machine, which you can go into, and you can give like a drag factor score and based off air quality and all that kind of stuff. So I recommend just shoving it in something like 3 to 5, something like that. That's what most people should be kind of working at. And then they go in their drag factor and then adjust that accordingly as well, and trying to get this happy medium and trying to go out and like do a 500 meters and just see what you do, and then go back, okay? I'm not a rowing coach, but I know more than normal, okay? But really, really, really cool. Let's move on to the next item, because it's something that has done the rounds this week, and we're just gonna sit back, listen to this weird world that we live in, okay? Right, let's roll the tape.
Hyrox. Nobody cares how many minutes you can do a mile in. Nobody cares how many star jumps you can do. You're doing adult PE, mate. Like, you don't walk into a room and somebody flexes their Hyrox stats. You walk into a room with a build and people know. They don't need to tell you what you can do. I walk into a room and people can see that is capable. So, you want to look capable without saying a single thing? Or do you want to have to tell people how many star jumps you can do, how many minutes you can do a mile?
Wow. I'd like to just let the next bit play, okay? So this guy is an IFBB pro. This is Chris Bumstead, okay? Has recently just left the world of bodybuilding and is now in our world of athletic-based training because he wants to be a jacked athlete. He's realized for longevity, being healthy, he needs to stop training for pure and make his body move in loads of different ways. Awesome, Chris Bumstead. I will do a complete video on what his training looks like currently and how he's moved away. That is absolutely fine. This guy, my God. So the first thing he said, I need to screw Hyrox. We're not going to swear. We don't need to degrade ourselves in that way. So I train people for Hyrox. I'm perfectly biased, okay? But I don't just train people for Hyrox. I've got athletes, I train footballers, I train cricketers, I train golfers, marathons, stuff like that. I train people for the thing that they want to go and do, the outside source that is not just the gym, right? So that's the whole capabilities, right? But as a human and being able to go and do this kind of stuff, it is healthy. Their VO2, their heart health, their body ability to move, to grind through stuff. Some of their rigs are absolutely insane and their work ethic is absolutely mental. I'm not saying Ben Featherstone does not have a good work ethic. He clearly does because the guy's massive. So he's gone full potato into his IFBB Pro. He's on loads of gear. Look at the guy. He's on so much gear, it's insane. He's an angry man and he's out of breath, let's say. But he's very good at muscular endurance, basically, hypertrophy and taking gear. And dieting, I would assume, if he's an IFBB Pro. So he's very good at that kind of mental state and what he wants to become and do. But that doesn't mean that he can have this opinion of saying, screw that. Because every Hyroxer can come back and you go, well, screw you, I look great, I can perform well, I can run after my kids, I can do adult PE. Yeah, I joke that it's adult PE, but there's certain qualities and skill elements that are actually involved. Cool, and there's plyometric elephants. He's going to have really thick tendons, but they're going to have no kind of reactivity. They're never going to be about being elastic at all. And the guy, you know what's going to happen when he ages. CBum's shown us. He's not going to be able to catch himself. He will break his bone. Guarantee. He won't be able to run for the bus. Doesn't matter. Like, that's what's going to happen. And he was like, if there was the comment section is unbelievable in there of most people going, what the hell are you on about? Why are you so angry? But also, if he's doing it for clicks and likes, and obviously that's what he's doing to cause controversy, such a weird take. It's super popular. It's getting lots of people into fitness because there's a low barrier of entry. Right? And you can get really, 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 really good at it, right? But 52% of it is running, so this guy can't do it, okay? Bashing something that he cannot do and will never be able to do to a good level. Let's be honest, unfortunately. Yeah, but just to put this in perspective, and we'll talk about in the future what it means to be athletic. These are the things that we train in qualities that we can train for to get you better at whatever you want to do. So within a session, like we have mobilities, you need to be stable, you're doing cool. We have movement preparation, which is like we are preparing for what you do, essentially. We have power and velocity. That might be speed, that might be jumps, that might be cleans, that might be Olympic lifting, that might be whatever, to become powerful and have rate of force production, to be able to use reactivity and produce force. Then we have strength work. Cool, getting jacked, getting strong, getting thick, getting really good myofibrillar, kind of sarcoplasmic whatever hypertrophy. That's cool. That goes in that strength section where we're trying to lift heavier tin. Then we've got like a resiliency accessory based thing that we start to train for. That might be hypertrophy, whatever it be. Then we have muscular endurance. Yeah, cool. This is exactly what this guy's really good at, actually. We're able to do that, do something for a long amount of time. And then we've got our kind of energy systems, which means we're able to go and train in lots of different energy systems. So lactate, anaerobic, aerobic, whatever that be, okay? And tempo work, blah, 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 blah. All this kind of stuff equals an athlete, but just segregating one and saying it's crap is so poor. Screw you, Ben Featherstone. It's just a poor aspect, and we want to see people like CBum slowly relearning how to move. I know I have a long way to go, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't believe or I was capable of some lofty goals, the bigger dream that you have more to stretch yourself and achieve it. the more you grow as a person. He seems like a head screwed on guy, bigger than that guy, far more successful than that guy in terms of what he's done in the physique world. And guess what? He's going to be training for a lot longer without healthy muscles than the other chap. I can guarantee it, right? With that note, hope you enjoyed. Obviously like and subscribe. Why haven't you done that already? If you're a coach and you're watching this and you want to learn about all this kind of stuff and coach your clients better, come in the group. There's a bunch of stuff down below. Go look at it. You can find all my links there. And yeah, comment. Do you think that guy was out of order? And what's the best 1K rower? Are you getting anywhere close to that world record? Just let me know in the comment down below. I'm not going anywhere near that. It looks like absolute pain cave. See you in the next one.